Ladies and gentlemen, may I please request everybody to please take your seats. If you have your colleagues and friends still outside, it would be the good time to call them here now. A good morning to you all. Yeah, that's like it. My name is Tarusha Saxena, and on behalf of the entire team of HYSEA, I welcome all of you to the 32nd HYSEA National Summit Awards 2025. Huge round of applause. That's a big milestone. And we will be celebrating today AI and beyond, redefining future. This event is in association with IDE&C Department Government of Telangana and STPI Hyderabad. To kickstart today's day, I would now like to invite President HYSEA, Mr. Prashanth Nandella, to give us some inspiration and his welcome note. Prashant.
Thankfully, some of you all came in early this morning from a very far distance. Thank you, Dajiji, for being here. We had a great reception last evening. I think a lot of us spent some good time. I was not hopeful I'll be here at 7:30, 8 o'clock, but I managed to be here. But it's great to see this room power-packed with everybody here who's making a difference to the Hyderabad ecosystem and making a difference to our industry. So it's a fantastic opportunity to engage with all of you all. Good morning, all distinguished guests, industry leaders, academia, government officials, partners and friends. Welcome all to this 32nd HYSEA National Summit and Awards function that we have today. It's an honor and privilege to call you all for this. The gathering is not just about celebrating Hyderabad's thriving IT industry, but also it's a reflection of a collective journey that all of us have earmarked. Over the last 33 years, we've had many organizations coming together with a singular purpose. How do we make Hyderabad the destination of IT industry, innovation and change and transformation? So I think we're here to celebrate that success and hoping that all of us will continue this journey in this fast evolving world, and how do you sort of keep up the pace and be front of the technology revolution. With that in mind, this year's theme that we've set for ourselves is AI and beyond, redefining the future. As we all know, the technology changes have been 15, 20 years before, 10 years, 5 years, now every year something changes, right? So we'll have to think about how to adapt to this change and make sure that we have the necessary ingredients of learning and unlearning cycles, and how do you sort of learn ourselves, keep ourselves abreast, adapt to change, and make sure that we are driving a big difference to the society as we go along. So I think a couple of things that we wanted to cover today. We've did this session into 3 parts. So part A is about getting an industry outside in perspective about globally what's happening in our industry from a technology transformation. We have an opening keynote that's going to cover that in a while from an analyst who's covering multiple technologies like this globally. But also, I think we wanted to spend a little bit of time to cover the next level of it, right? We heard about agentic AI, what does it mean? Quantum compute, how does it change our world? So we're going to dive a little bit into what this means for us from a technology standpoint. We'll quickly move from that to talk about how these have been applied already in our industry, right? Because a lot of change is happening and we're applying a bunch of that in our industry. We'll have a bunch of corporate leaders talk about practical examples of how they've used to innovate their companies, make a difference and drive better experiences. We are not, while most of us are from corporate, we have government, we have academia, every other institution here, but a lot is happening in changing the way we are skilling our talent. Lots happening in the way that we are delivering citizen service in a very differentiated manner to our citizens globally, right? So how do we sort of embed that? And we have a session where we're going to have a little bit of insight into, what is it changing from an education system, citizen services? What does it mean to us in terms of providing better experiences and easier conveniences to our one and all, not just the people here, but across the system. So again, I think the business models are getting revamped, changed dramatically, and we all need to know how this change has to be managed. What do we need to manage this change, and how can we drive better experiences? So that's what the whole day is going to be covering about. So I wanted to talk 2 things just about Hyderabad, right? I think some stats that I'll cover in the evening, but we've been the fastest growing GCC hub in the last 18 months here. So a lot of new companies coming here for a lot of good things. Talent, clearly, infrastructure, policy, ability to ease of doing business, all of this stand out. So we're seeing a lot of good stuff that's happening. At the same time, I think we are innovating from the front. We have multiple institutions and academia and government bodies who have created incubation centers and supporting startups and mentoring startups so that we can create a thriving environment of not just servicing companies, but also creating companies that we can deliver services globally. So that's our intent, to sort of shift the landscape to be more efficient. So with that background in mind, we are working with multiple industry associations, and we have a 5-point agenda that we are sort of working with. So first one is skilling for future. Everybody knows that we need to skill for future. It has two parts to it. At an employability standpoint, when people are graduating, how do you sort of make them more job ready? That's one. I think we see a proliferation of academic institutions that have come out in the last 10, 15 years. So clearly, one of the gap we found is how do we sort of engage to make sure that we are doing a faculty immersion program so they're abreast of the technology changes, so they're able to appreciate what is required to create an employable job profile eventually, right? So adapting it from two lenses, we call it Project Nipuna and Project Drona. That's what we're trying to do from a business standpoint. The second piece is clearly the startup and innovation ecosystem that I spoke about. We're running two programs. One is called Project Vriddhi, which is essentially figuring out how we can create funding, mentorship for startups, and Catalyst, where we are bringing in external business problems that a lot of services companies, GCCs all face today, and giving access to startups so they can solve for business problems. So, people strive for solving problems. Those are two programs that we have launched and managing. I think sustainability and ESG is very, very important. What we're trying to create, we have to circular economy, we have to give back to the society to a large extent. So we're running multiple programs in terms of ESG, environment readiness, sustainability index. We're trying to launch a sustainability index for the state, right? So we're working with a bunch of organizations to see what the sustainability index has to be, how do we measure, how do we track, and how we're giving back has to be measured back to society. That's a big stuff that we're trying to do. We've actively worked with the government on the green mobility, the open power access policy, so hopefully those will see fraction very, very soon from a business standpoint. Last but not the least, I think we need to have a democratized growth across the state, across the nation, and I know we were talking with some of you all earlier in my interactions. So we're trying to take as much as interventions that we're doing in corporate social responsibility to rural India, to rural Telangana, so that we are able to create a level playing field for people to compete, work, and create ecosystem changes more secular, widespread, and not just in main cities. So that's a big initiative that HYSEA is working with corporate companies. We launched a village adoption program with 30-odd villages in remote Telangana have been adopted. We hope to do a lot more of this in collaboration with all of you all. That's a big element that we're trying to do. And we also have a flagship program on digital disruption initiative where we want to take digital and cognitive education. I know this is very close to Rajiji in terms of what we spoke earlier, but take this to schools. How do you sort of create infrastructure, systems and procedures in schools so that we can actually make a difference? This is not something that we're doing now, it's been launched a while back, and I'm fortunate to have a bunch of past presidents from HYSEA here who have championed this, designed this, and taking it to closure. We're just continuing on that path, and our vision this year is to take that from 90 schools to 600 schools so that we're able to at least do 10% of government schools in Telangana and hopefully scale from there. So that's an initiative that we've launched. Last but not the least, I think we work very closely with government, across multiple departments. I think we have to be 5 years on infrastructure ahead of time so that we can manage this growth, whether it be train connectivity, road connectivity, quality of roads, new roads, solving real-time problems in terms of how we assess things, more strategic information around how do you plan our traffic commute that much more easier. So we work with WhatsApp for Business, with the government of Telangana and the Hyderabad Police Commissioner to create traffic pulses so that at least we know when there is an issue and how we can solve issue rather than if we can't solve, let's manage the traffic situation in a better manner. So a lot of stuff happening there, and hopefully all of this will lead to a more resilient, strong, innovative, creative Hyderabad, and we all want to create this with support of all of you all. Again, before I end this, thank you all for being here. This summit is a great opportunity to reimagine the future for us. We have great speakers, great lineups. I think there's a lot to learn from each other, and hopefully we will continue to contribute on our individual and corporate capacities to this change and transformation. Again, thank you all. Enjoy this event and look forward to all of your participation. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Prashant, for the inspiring words and really kick-starting the event today. And now we move to the lamp lighting. And Prashant, may I request you to please remain on stage while I invite our dignitaries to please join us on stage. Mr. Kamlesh Patel, Global Guide, Heartfulness Institute. Joining him, may I invite Mr. Phil Fresh, CEO, Chief Analyst, HFS Research. Mr. J.A. Chaudhary, Founder, ISF Chairman of the Indian Blockchain Standards Committee. May I also request Ms. Kavita C., Director, STPI Hyderabad, to join us on stage for the lamp lighting. And may I invite the past presidents, Mr. Bharani Kumar Arol and Mr. Nari, to please join us on stage for the lamp lighting. May I also request Bhavani Shri IAS to join us on stage for the lamp lighting. Can we please have you on stage? Thank you for being with us here today.